how to handle losing streaks like a professional trader without losing your mind. You ever had one of those weeks where every single trade you touch just dies? Like the market's out to prove a personal point against you? One stop loss hits, then another, and before you know it, your confidence is gone faster than your last profitable setup. It's not just losing money that hurts. It's losing your belief in yourself. You start questioning everything. Did I forget how to trade? Maybe the strategy stopped working. Or maybe I was just lucky before. And that's when it happens. The spiral begins. You start clicking buttons emotionally, trying to make it back. You overtrade, revenge trade, or freeze completely. But what if I told you that losing streaks are not the enemy? They're actually the tuition fee every professional pays to become emotionally bulletproof. That's what this episode is about. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why losing streaks hit harder than they should, the psychology behind how your brain reacts during a drawdown, how top traders, from Jesse Livermore to Paul Tudor Jones, handled their darkest streaks, and finally, how you can recover faster, trade smarter, and protect your mental capital like a pro. And remember this, what I want to teach you is not just theory or just a motivational talk. It's the reality and life-changing concept. Just watch this video again and again and again. This is not a news you watch and you're done. This requires time and repetition action for it to sink deeply in you. So, if you've ever thrown your mouse across the room after a stop-out, trust me, this one's for you. Let's dive in, but before we start, if you're serious about mastering trading psychology, hit that like button. It tells me to keep making deep dive videos like this. Subscribe if you want a mind that trades like a machine but still feels like a monk. And hey, comment below with your worst losing streak story. I might feature it in the next episode. All right, now let's get real. Part 1. The emotional crash. Why losing streaks hurt so much. Here's the truth. Nobody tells you. Losing streaks don't just drain your account, they drain your identity. See, every time you take a trade, you're not just betting money. You're betting a small piece of your self-worth. That's why it stings so badly. Because somewhere deep down, your brain doesn't think, I lost a trade. It thinks, I lost, therefore, I am a loser. Now, that sounds dramatic, but neuroscience actually backs it up. When we lose, especially repeatedly, the brain's anterior cingulate cortex lights up. That's the same region associated with physical pain. So yes, your last 5 stop-loss streak, your brain literally processed that like a mild beating. And the cruel part is, your dopamine system, the reward chemical, shuts down temporarily, meaning your motivation to act rationally plummets right when you need it most. So this is why so many traders spiral after a few losses. It's not that they suddenly became bad traders, it's that their biochemistry hijacked their decision-making. Let's make that real. In the 1920s, legendary trader Jesse Livermore, the man who made millions shorting the 1929 crash, also went broke multiple times. Each time, it wasn't the market that destroyed him, it was his psychology. He once said, "A loss never bothers me after I take it. I forget it overnight. But being wrong, not taking the loss, that is what does the damage." That line right there is gold, because most traders don't actually fear losing money. They fear being wrong. It's ego, not equity. And if you've ever found yourself moving your stop-loss just a little bit lower, whispering, let's just give it a bit more room to breathe, congratulations, you just gave CPR to a dead trade. Now, losing streaks trigger the same emotional pathways as rejection or humiliation. That's why traders often isolate, stop journaling, or even ghost their trading buddies during a drawdown. It's not strategy, it's shame. But here's where it gets interesting. Professional traders still feel that pain. They just don't let it own them. They've trained their mind to recognize that pain as feedback, not failure. The hidden psychology behind the spiral. Let's break down what actually happens inside your head during a losing streak. Step 1. The emotional hijack. The first few losses activate your limbic system. That's your emotional brain. It starts screaming, "Danger! You're losing control!" The prefrontal cortex, your logical brain, tries to calm it down. But if the losses keep coming, logic shuts off and emotion takes the wheel. That's when traders start doing stupid things, doubling position size, taking random setups, or chasing revenge trades. You know the feeling. That last trade almost hit TP. The market owes me one. Spoiler, it doesn't. Step 2. The identity crisis. After a few bad trades, you stop seeing trades as independent events. You start seeing them as reflections of your skill. Each red trade isn't just a result, it's a vote against your ability. So your brain freaks out. If I keep losing, maybe I'm not good at this after all. That fear drives impulsivity. And that's where drawdowns turn into psychological freefalls. Now, here's something few realize. A study by the University of Cambridge in 2014 found that professional traders' testosterone levels spike after wins and drop sharply after consecutive losses. That hormonal crash leads to higher risk-taking, worse decisions, and emotional imbalance. Basically, your biology starts gambling. So next time you revenge trade, don't blame your broker, blame your endocrine system. The market doesn't punish, it just reveals what you haven't mastered yet. Here's something I want you to sit with. The market doesn't punish you for losing. It just reveals what you haven't mastered yet. Every losing streak is a diagnostic tool, not a death sentence. If you can face your losing streaks without self-hate, you're already ahead of 90% of traders. Think about this. When Paul Tudor Jones was early in his career, he had a streak that nearly wiped him out. He said he once lost 60% of his capital in a few months, and it almost broke him. But instead of quitting, he vowed never to risk more than 1% on a trade again. That one rule became his foundation, and he went on to become one of the greatest traders alive. So when you face your streak, don't just ask, "How do I stop losing?" Ask, "What is this streak trying to teach me?" Because the truth is, every losing streak carries a message. Sometimes it's risk management. Sometimes it's emotional control. Sometimes it's overconfidence in disguise. And the moment you start treating your losing streak like a teacher instead of a curse, you stop being a victim of the market and start becoming a student of mastery. You'll know you've matured as a trader when you stop reacting to losses like pain and start responding to them like data. All right, we're just getting warmed up. In the next section, we'll go deeper into how to handle losing streaks in real time, how to calm your nervous system, protect your confidence, and use a system that turns a losing streak into a growth cycle. But before that, take a breath, because understanding the psychology is half the battle. The next half is learning how to fight back without fighting yourself. When you're in a losing streak, your first enemy isn't the market. It's your nervous system. Your body literally goes into fight or flight mode. Heart rate rises, breathing shortens, cortisol floods your bloodstream. You become less analytical and more reactive, which is the opposite of what trading demands. The first step to handling a losing streak isn't to fix your strategy. It's to regulate your physiology. You can't think straight when your body is in panic mode. Professional traders use something called reset rituals. After a loss, they step away. They don't stare at the chart, they don't open another trade, they disconnect to reset their state. One famous hedge fund manager, Ray Dalio, said that meditation saved his trading career. Why? Because meditation trained his brain to pause between the loss and the reaction. That pause is where wisdom enters. You have to build your own reset ritual. For some, it's a 10-minute walk. For others, journaling. For me, I literally close my laptop and go wash dishes. Sounds funny, but that simple routine tells my brain, we're done for now. The market can move without me. Now, the second rule is this: don't analyze while emotional. When you're angry, sad, or anxious, your mind... You see, losing streaks are not just about losing trades. They're about losing rhythm. It's like when a great boxer gets hit, not by a knockout punch, but by 5 straight jabs that make him question his stance. That's what happens in trading. You start second-guessing. You widen stops. You close winners early. You stare at charts like they owe you an apology. And the best part? You start saying things like, this time I'll just scalp my way back. Oh, really? From 7 losing trades in a row, you're suddenly a 10-pip sniper? That's not trading, that's emotional gambling with a diploma in denial. Let's talk truth. Even the best traders in history went through losing streaks. Take Bill Dunn, founder of Dunn Capital, one of the pioneers of systematic trend following. In the 1980s, his fund lost over 50% in one brutal drawdown, but he didn't quit. Why? Because his system had a positive expectancy. He understood one principle: you can't judge your strategy by short-term pain. Now imagine you're walking through a desert. You're thirsty, your lips are cracked, and you've walked miles without finding water. That's a losing streak. Most traders turn back right before the oasis. But the professionals, they keep walking. They know the desert is part of the map, not the end of it. Step 1. Accept. Don't negotiate with reality. You ever notice how traders act like the market is an ex who will come back if they just say sorry? Oh, come on, Euro USD. Give me one clean setup. I promise I'll never revenge trade again. No, the market doesn't care. You can cry, pray, meditate, or watch 20 YouTube videos on law of attraction. But the chart will only pay you when you are in alignment with logic, not emotion. One of the most famous hedge fund managers, Paul Tudor Jones, once said, "Losers average losers." When you're in a losing streak, that's exactly the time to step back, not double down. The key here is awareness. A losing streak doesn't mean your system is broken. It might just mean you are tired, distracted, or emotionally overloaded. Remember, emotional drawdown comes before equity drawdown. Step 2. Deactivate your ego. Let me be honest. Your ego loves the market more than you do. It wants to be right. It wants revenge. It wants to turn that $200 loss into a $500 win just to post it on Twitter. But trading is not a boxing match against the market. It's a mirror. Every losing streak is your ego saying, I told you I could predict this, and the market saying, no, you can't. Legendary trader Ed Seykota once said, win or lose, everybody gets what they want out of the market. What he meant is that some traders unconsciously want chaos. It makes them feel alive. Others want validation. But the professionals? They want longevity. Your ego is like a bad co-pilot. It talks too much and crashes the plane. Silence it. Take one day off. Don't even open the chart. Go outside. Touch grass. Breathe. Then come back with humility, not hunger. Step 3. Quantify your losses. Because if you can't measure your pain, you can't manage it. Most traders treat losing streaks like emotional earthquakes. Everything shakes and they never check the Richter scale. Here's how pros do it. They track their maximum losing streak and average drawdown over hundreds of trades. For instance, if your strategy historically has 6 losses in a row and you're currently at 4, that's not a crisis. That's math. But if your plan says 6 max and you're on trade 9, then maybe something's off. Your environment, execution, or discipline. It's like being a pilot, flying through turbulence. You don't panic, you check your instruments. Data is your autopilot when emotion wants to hijack the plane. Step 4. Reset the mind physically. You can't meditate your way out of cortisol. You need movement. Go for a walk, lift weights, stretch, do push-ups, anything that reconnects your body to presence. You'd be surprised how a 30-minute workout can reset your brain chemistry faster than 30 hours of chart staring. Neuroscience backs this. Physical activity releases dopamine and serotonin, natural counterbalances to the stress hormone, cortisol. When cortisol stays high, your brain literally becomes less logical and more impulsive. That's why revenge trading feels so right when it's actually so wrong. The body anchors the mind. Every time you lose, remember this. Before you open another chart, open a window. Before you click buy, breathe. Step 5, reconnect with purpose. Ask yourself, why am I even trading? If your answer is to make money, that's not enough. Money is a result, not a reason. Because when you're down 8 trades in a row, money won't keep you disciplined. Purpose will. For example, Jesse Livermore, one of the greatest traders of all time, made and lost several fortunes. But every time he went broke, he came back because trading wasn't just his income, it was his craft. He loved the process of reading the tape, the rhythm of price action, the psychology behind it. That's what will save you, reconnecting with the craft, not the cash. You're not here to win every trade. You're here to master yourself through every trade. So, the next time you hit a losing streak, remember, it's not the end of your story. It's just the middle chapter where the hero doubts himself before mastering the game. Every losing streak hides a lesson. Every loss is tuition in the University of Discipline. And every comeback begins with a single word. Pause. Pause. Reflect, adjust, return. If this message hit you at the right time, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a trader who needs to hear this today. Subscribe, because in this series, we're not just learning charts, we're learning ourselves. Let's talk about something most traders avoid. What's happening inside your brain during a losing streak? Because it's not just your chart that's bleeding red, it's your neurochemistry. Tanta 2. When you lose repeatedly, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. It narrows your focus, raises your heart rate, and shifts your decision-making from the logical prefrontal cortex to the emotional amygdala, the fight-or-flight zone. That's why after 5 losing trades, you suddenly feel like a caffeine-fueled Navy SEAL, ready to attack the market with no plan. Tanta 3, but here's where neuroscience gives us a huge advantage. Studies show that simple grounding techniques like slow breathing, physical movement, and narrative reflection, journaling what you feel, actually re-engage the prefrontal cortex. You literally bring logic back online. Think of it like rebooting your mental operating system. Your brain freezes under emotional load, and you don't fix that by clicking buy again. You fix it by pressing reset. And remember this, you can do anything else, but please and please never, ever change the strategy. Let that be last solution you will do. You know what? The same strategy you're doubting, someone else is withdrawing every month a lot of money from the market. So it's the problem is you, not the strategy. It happened to me a lot of time, and I regret a lot. I have joined a lot of mentors, but immediately I blew account, I look for another mentor. For example, I have joined Raja Bank Mentorship, ICT 2022 course, Urimi University, Swaggy C, and list is long. Until I realize the issue is not more courses, but applications of the content. To add on this, there is difference between applications of content and knowing content, and applications of content always took long time be effective. Give it time always. It's like a art. Art always take long time to become automated and easily done. Case Study 1. Ray Dalio, The Humility Lesson. Back in 1982, Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, was convinced that the U.S. economy was headed for a collapse. He went on TV, made bold predictions, and positioned his firm accordingly. He was wrong. Spectacularly wrong. He lost so much money, he had to borrow $4,000 from his dad just to pay his bills. Imagine that. The man who would later manage over $150 billion, broke and humbled. But here's the turning point. Instead of quitting, Dalio documented every cognitive mistake he made. He built a system of radical transparency and process testing that became the foundation of Bridgewater's success. He didn't just recover, he turned his failure into a philosophy. Pain plus reflection equals progress. Dalio didn't fear losing streaks anymore. He respected them. He realized they're not signals of doom, but signals of discovery. Case Study 2. Mark Minervini, The 90% Drawdown. Now let's talk about Mark Minervini, a U.S. investing champion known for turning small accounts into multi-million portfolios. Before his success, he faced a 90% drawdown early in his career. He nearly quit. And who wouldn't? Imagine watching your account go from $100,000 to $10,000. That's not trading pain, that's spiritual warfare. But here's what he did differently. He didn't run from the pain, he studied it. He analyzed every single losing trade, found his emotional patterns, and built a framework around risk-first trading. He later said, "Losing taught me everything about winning." That's the paradox of mastery. Every great trader becomes great only after losing in public, in private, and in silence, and still coming back stronger. Case Study 3. Linda Bradford Raschke, The Stoic Professional. Linda Raschke, one of the most respected futures traders in history, once said, "You don't control your wins, you control your process." In her early years trading S&P futures, she faced a brutal losing streak that almost wiped her out. But instead of changing systems, she simplified. She started focusing on just a few clean setups she could execute flawlessly. She cut the noise, and yes, probably cut a few indicators too. Her comeback wasn't about brilliance, it was about consistency. She learned that in markets, complexity kills under pressure. Simplicity survives. That's why Raschke later became known for her precision and emotional control, two traits that only losing streaks can forge. The neurochemical truth of comebacks. When you make a comeback after losses, your brain releases dopamine, not because of profit, but because of progress. That's crucial. The human brain finds the process of mastery more rewarding than instant results. That's why revenge trading feels amazing for 5 minutes and catastrophic for 5 hours. The key is to rewire your dopamine loop from win dopamine to discipline dopamine. Reward yourself for sticking to your rules, for walking away, for cutting a bad trade early. That's how you reprogram your trading brain. You're literally building emotional calluses. Each one makes you less reactive, more aware, and more durable, until losses no longer define your mood, just your metrics. The comeback blueprint. Let's put everything together, the formula that every trader can use to rise from a losing streak like a professional. Step 1. Pause. Stop trading when you hit emotional fatigue. Step 2. Review. Study your last 10 trades without bias. Look for behavioral, not technical errors. Step 3. Reflect. Journal the emotional triggers that led to those trades: fear, boredom, greed, FOMO. Step 4. Reset. Do something physical. Reset your biochemistry. Step 5. Rebuild. Trade smaller size with full discipline until confidence returns. Step 6. Reaffirm. Reconnect with your purpose. Remind yourself why you trade. Because the truth is, every losing streak is a test of alignment. The market is asking, do you want excitement or do you want freedom? If you choose excitement, you'll get drama. If you choose freedom, you'll get discipline. Your goal isn't to avoid losing streaks, it's to outgrow them. Because once you master your response, you've already won the hardest trade there is, the one against yourself. Remember, Bill Dunn survived 50% drawdowns. Mark Minervini came back from 90%. Ray Dalio rebuilt from 0. Linda Raschke found calm in chaos. And you're just one disciplined streak away from becoming your own comeback story. Don't run from your losing streak. Walk through it with logic in your hand, discipline in your heart, and purpose in your eyes. If this message found you during a tough phase, let this be your reset moment. Hit subscribe, not for motivation, but for mastery. Because here, we're not chasing the market. We're mastering the mind that trades it. This is Dr. Osman reminding you the losing streak doesn't end when you win again. It ends when you learn again. Until next time, bye-bye.